Hello everyone and welcome back to Cosmo's Universe. My name is Matt and today, lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? Or is it? Why do some places have more sun or wind or rain than others? What makes the weather tick? Well, that's what I'm going to be diving into today for Matt Matters episode 4. So while you're here, remember to drop a like, really does help. And let's get into it. So Earth has a number of different biomes. Biomes are essentially large-scale versions of ecosystems, which is an interdependent system of flora, fauna, and the physical environment that they live in. And they're formed over time by different types of climates, and depending on how you count, there's about a dozen. On the screen now, I'm going to present you a map, which is a rough guide to the biomes of Earth. The exact lines, number of biomes is debated, but it's generally agreed that deserts exist in the driest areas, mostly at the equator, but I will come back to that. The tropical rainforests occur between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn because they exist in the wettest and hottest places. And then savannas and forests are placed in the central areas of each hemisphere. And then as it gets colder towards the poles, you get forests and tundra. Now in sci-fi, and sometimes in the real universe, you get planets which only have one type of biome all across their world. It's like a fiery planet or an icy planet, or it's like a sort of grass. Like planets will have maybe one biome, one sort of predominant climate across the entire world. But there is a simple explanation as to why we have so many. 2 words: warm air. That's it. You can click off the video now. You can go. See if I can. Need the watch time. Seriously though, it is that simple. But stick around, you might be fulfilled by some sort of scientific geographical explanation. There are 3 crucial points to explain this. Number 1, Earth is in what's called the Goldilocks zone. What this means is that Earth is not too far away from the sun, not too close, so it doesn't boil or freeze, and it means it can sustain life because water is a liquid. No weather or atmosphere whatsoever can form without the sun being the right distance to make, all the right elements, liquid, gas, and etc, etc. It's a complicated process. It is difficult to find habitable planets because of this, but it's not nearly as difficult as actually making telescopes to be able to see them in the first place. Crucial point number 2. Earth is not perfectly round, but it's round enough to be widest at the equator, like any sphere. What this means is that the sun's heat and light energy in its infrared rays is concentrated around this point. It gets more of it, which forms deserts, because it's hotter and drier. Crucial point number 3. Hot air rises. The basic science of it is when air is heated, it will rise. Because particles have more energy in them, in this case heat, they will move around more. Hence why solids melt into liquids, liquids evaporate into gases, and so on and so forth. For the sake of this example, we're looking at a gas, so its particles are already quite sparse from the energy that they contain, but because they're heated up, they move around more. This makes them lighter than cooler air, so they will rise. This movement therefore creates wind, so after they rise, they'll move around, let's say north in this case, and then they will cool and sink into a tropical rainforest. The reason for this is because it's still hot, but it's not as hot as the desert. In tropical rainforests, it's very humid. The difference between that and the deserts is that deserts are very dry in comparison. The point is that this is a little process which will repeat. It's like a kind of warm air, cold air front. So this air that's cooler, relatively speaking, than the desert air will remain cool until it is in the right spot, saying more direct sunlight rather than in the shade. It will then heat and rise again, and this process will repeat in tropical rainforests. It'll heat, rise, move as wind, cool, sink, and then the next biome belongs like savanna or something. Then I think it's something like grasslands, and then forests, and then taiga next. I don't remember the exact order, it's kind of debated. And in each biome it becomes slightly cooler, there's less concentrated sunlight, so that's why it works. Of course it's not perfectly aligned. Air can move north, south, east, west, and once it gets to the poles it might move back. Hence why you get different types of weather, warm and cold moving around, not in necessarily a uniform pattern, which is why it's hard to predict the weather sometimes. And the rest, as they say, is history, or should I say geography, really. Depending on the hot or cold air, clouds will form, and because of that you can have rain, hail, sleet, snow, or if there's no clouds it might be sunnier. It all depends on temperature and humidity when you boil it down. Before I finish, I want to show you this image again. Essentially, it highlights the fact that deserts exist in places far away from the equator. And the reason for this is that the rule about deserts is that they are dry. They have less than 20 millimeters of rainfall per year, but it has nothing to do with heat. In fact, Antarctica is technically a desert, but it's a nice desert because it's cold, but it's also very dry. The reason for this is because in those places there are mountains. Mountains are so big that they actually block the cool air from blowing wind into those places. Because of this, it creates a very dry climate over time, which will form deserts, obviously. And after that, temperature will decide whether it's snow or sand. Weather is fundamentally the conditions of an environment based on temperature, humidity, wind, cloud cover, and biomes. Biomes, however, are not necessarily formed by the weather. The weather forms the conditions of an environment on one day, but biomes are formed by geographical time average climates rather than day-to-day changes in heat and humidity. That's all, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to drop a like. It is much appreciated. Subscribe and make sure you hit the bell to be notified of all the new content coming on this channel very, very soon. If you're already subscribed, then why not share it with your friends so we can get more people to join this amazing community we've created. And that's all. So, until the next time, bye-bye.